Dr. Ilona Rhodes was conducting a routine soil sample analysis from the uncharted planet Xerxes when the ship's emergency klaxon blared. A distress signal, originating from a rare and potentially hazardous anomaly in the unexplored Gamma sector, had been detected. Commander Jackson's voice crackled through her comlink, instructing her to report to the bridge immediately. Upon arriving on the bridge, Ilona joined the crew in analyzing the signal's source. Ship scanners revealed a damaged vessel of unknown origin on Xerxes' surface. The craft was unregistered and heavily damaged, yet faint life signs emanated from the wreckage. "It's alien," Jackson announced, his voice a blend of excitement and caution. "Life signs are weak, we can't identify the species, but it's unlike anything we've ever encountered." Ilona's pulse quickened. As chief medical officer and xenobiologist, this was a unique opportunity to study a completely new life form. However, the urgency of the situation tempered her excitement. If the occupant was still alive, time was of the essence. Minutes later, Ilona and a rescue team boarded a dropship and descended through Xerxes' dense atmosphere. The shuttle experienced significant turbulence as it navigated the turbulent air currents. The planet's surface was obscured by a thick green mist and dense foliage. Upon breaking through the canopy, the crashed vessel came into view, a sleek, obsidian-colored ship, partially buried in the jungle. Fire smoldered along its jagged edges, acrid smoke curling into the sky. "Let's move, people!" Ilona shouted as the shuttle landed. The rescue team secured the perimeter while Ilona and two medics approached the wreckage. A large, jagged hole in the ship's side provided access, but the interior was treacherous. The air was thick with the smell of burnt metal and alien fluids. Inside the dimly lit cockpit, they discovered the pilot, a creature unlike anything Ilona had ever witnessed. The being was humanoid, but taller, possessing bioluminescent scales that glowed faintly, even in its unconscious state. It had 6 limbs, 2 arms, 2 legs, and 2 smaller, wing-like appendages folded beneath its body. Despite its elegant form, it was severely injured. One wing was broken, a deep gash marred its torso, and the shimmering light of its scales was flickering weakly. "Scans show a single life form. This must be it," Ensign Keller, one of the medics, whispered, his voice filled with awe. Ilona knelt beside the alien, her hands moving with practiced precision as she activated her medical scanner. The device buzzed, its screen flashing red. The being's vital signs were weak, and its physiology was largely unfamiliar, but it was clear it wouldn't survive long without immediate intervention. "Prepare the stretcher," she ordered. "We need to stabilize it immediately." As the team worked to remove the alien from the wreckage, the being stirred slightly, its large, iridescent eyes fluttering open. It emitted a low, resonant sound, a blend of a hum and a growl, as it struggled to regain awareness. Its gaze locked onto Ilona, and for a brief moment, a flicker of emotion, fear or perhaps curiosity, was evident. "You're safe," Ilona said softly, unsure if the alien understood, but hoping her tone conveyed reassurance. The alien's eyelids drooped, its body going limp again as its energy waned. Back aboard the Artemis, Ilona worked tirelessly in the med bay, utilizing every tool and piece of knowledge at her disposal to treat the alien's injuries. It was a complex challenge, balancing treatments compatible with its unique biology while avoiding anything that could worsen its condition. Hours passed, and finally, the alien's vital signs stabilized. Exhausted but relieved, Ilona sat back, gazing at her mysterious patient. Who was this being? Why had they crashed here? And most importantly, how had they evolved such a beautiful yet fragile form? She didn't know it yet, but this act of care would draw her into the heart of an interstellar rebellion, setting her on a path that would forever alter the course of her life. Ilona slept little after the rescue. The alien, now stabilized in the med bay, became her top priority. It wasn't simply her duty as a doctor, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. She meticulously documented everything, the flicker of the alien's bioluminescent scales, the intricate layering of its wings, and the rhythmic pulse of its unfamiliar vital signs. Every detail was a piece of a puzzle waiting to be solved. When the alien finally awoke, its large, luminous, gold-flecked eyes fixed on Ilona. Ilona instinctively recoiled, her heart racing. For a moment, there was silence, then it spoke, its voice a layered resonance that seemed to echo within itself. "Where am I?" it asked, in halting universal speech, a language shared among many intelligent species. "You're aboard the Terran ship Artemis," Ilona replied gently. "We found you after your ship crashed on Xerxes. You're safe." The alien appeared to relax, though its exhaustion was evident. "I am Leal, daughter of King Zorth of Elia." Ilona's breath caught. The name Zorth was familiar. He was a prominent figure in interstellar politics, known for ruling one of the most advanced and powerful alien empires in the quadrant. If Leal was truly his daughter, her presence wasn't just significant, it was potentially explosive. "You're a long way from home," Ilona ventured carefully. "What happened?" Leal hesitated, her luminous eyes dimming. "I was running," she admitted, "running from a fate I did not choose. My ship was attacked, damaged beyond repair. I didn't think I'd survive." The weight of Leal's words settled heavily in the med bay. Ilona sensed a pain that ran deeper than physical wounds. Over the next few days, as Leal recovered under Ilona's care, the two began to talk more openly. Leal described the rigid structure of alien society, where tradition reigned supreme, and women, regardless of rank, were expected to obey the will of their families. "My father," Leal said one evening, her voice low and filled with bitterness, "arranged a marriage for me. It was intended to end centuries of conflict between our people and the Vorin clans, a political move, nothing more. But I am not a pawn, Dr. Rhodes. I refuse to spend my life as a symbol." Ilona nodded, her empathy growing with each word. "I understand, more than you might think," she said. "As a woman working in the Terran fleet, I faced my share of expectations. It's not the same, but I know what it's like to fight for your independence." Their conversations deepened, and with them, Leal's trust. One evening, as Ilona examined the intricate bioluminescent patterns on Leal's scales, the princess spoke with quiet determination. "You saved my life, Ilana. It is only fair that I offer you something in return." Leal gestured toward a small device salvaged from her wrecked ship. It was sleek and metallic, its surface glowing faintly with alien symbols. "This is an alien medical tool," Leal explained. "It uses biogenic energy to heal damaged tissue at the cellular level. With it, you can do what no human doctor has ever dreamed of." Ilona's eyes widened as she turned the device in her hands, marveling at its design. This could revolutionize medicine on Earth." Leal nodded. "But you must be careful. Sharing this with your people could disrupt the balance of power between our worlds. My father would consider such an act treason." Despite the warning, Ilona felt exhilarated. The tool, along with Leal's explanations of its workings, opened doors to medical advancements she had never considered possible. Over the next few days, Leal continued to share her knowledge, teaching Ilona about alien anatomy, their regenerative capabilities, and their advanced understanding of genetics. As Leal's health improved, so did her resolve to continue her fight for freedom. But she wasn't the only one who had changed. Ilona, too, found herself questioning the boundaries between her duties as a Terran officer and her role as a healer. She had broken rules to save lives before, but this was different, this was personal. One night, as they gazed at the stars through the med bay viewport, Leal turned to Ilona and said, "You've given me more than my life back, you've reminded me of what I'm fighting for. I won't forget it." Neither of them knew it, but their bond and the secrets they shared would soon attract the attention of forces far beyond the Artemis, setting them on a collision course with the might of the Elian Empire. The Artemis was bustling with activity when the Elian envoy arrived. Leal had been recovering in secret, her presence known only to a select few crew members, but that secrecy evaporated when a massive alien battlecruiser appeared on the ship's sensors. The alien vessel, sleek and menacing, dwarfed the Artemis in size and power. Its arrival was no coincidence, it had come for Leal. "They found me," Leal said quietly, her bioluminescent scales dimming in resignation as she stood beside Ilona on the observation deck. Ilona clenched her fists. "What do they want? To drag you back to an arranged marriage, perhaps? Or worse," Leal said. "My father values loyalty above all else. He will see my escape as an act of rebellion, and your involvement as complicity. A message soon arrived, translated into universal speech. This is Commander Troz of the Elian fleet. By order of King Zorth, we demand the return of Princess Leal and request a meeting with your captain. Ilona and Commander Jackson exchanged uneasy glances. There was no choice but to comply. Moments later, an Elian envoy arrived on the ship, led by a tall figure clad in ornate armor, flanked by guards whose bioluminescent scales shimmered in unison. I am here on behalf of King Zorth, the envoy announced. The princess's safety is our paramount concern. His Majesty also wishes to meet the human responsible for her survival. Ilona froze, she hadn't expected this. You're not obligated to go, Jackson said quietly. We can negotiate. No, Ilona interrupted. I'll go. If this is about Leal, I need to be there. The transport to the Elian flagship was both intimidating and inspiring. The ship's interior was unlike anything Ilona had ever seen, its walls pulsed with glowing veins of energy, as if the ship itself were a living organism. They brought her to the throne room, a vast chamber dominated by the imposing figure of King Zorth. The alien king was a sight to behold, taller and broader than any alien Ilona had encountered. His scales glowed with an intense golden hue, a mark of his royal lineage. His sharp, calculating eyes bore into her as she entered. So, this is the Terran medic who saved my daughter, Zorth said, his voice a deep, resonant hum that filled the room. Step forward. Ilona did, trying to maintain a confident posture despite the weight of his gaze. Beside him stood Leal, her head held high but her expression wary. I thank you, Zorth said, his tone formal but cold. You have done a great service to my family by saving Leal's life. Yet your actions have also placed us in a precarious position. Do you know the consequences of harboring a fugitive of the Elian Empire? Ilona swallowed hard. I acted as a doctor, Your Majesty. I saw someone in need of help, and I gave it. I didn't know who she was when I found her. Zorth's expression remained unreadable. He glanced at Leal. And what of you, my daughter? What do you have to say for yourself? Leal stepped forward, her voice steady and defiant. I fled because I refused to be used as a tool for your politics. If that makes me a traitor, so be it. But this human has shown me more respect and care than my own family ever has. She is not to blame. The room fell silent for a moment. It seemed as though Zorth might lash out, but then he did something unexpected, he laughed. It was a deep, rumbling sound that reverberated through the chamber. You have your mother's fire, Leal, he said. And this human, she is bold. Perhaps boldness is what we need. Ilona blinked in surprise. What do you mean? Zorth rose from his throne, his towering form casting a long shadow. You have shown exceptional skill and courage, Dr. Rhodes. You saved my daughter when others would have let her die. For that, you have my gratitude. But gratitude alone is not enough. He gestured to one of his advisors, who stepped forward with a device in hand. It was a sleek, crystalline object that shimmered with a faint internal light. This, Zorth said, is a piece of Elian medical technology. It is a biogenic field generator, capable of regenerating damaged tissue at a cellular level. I am giving it to you, along with permission to study and adapt it for Terran use. Consider it a reward for your actions. Ilona stared at the device, stunned. It was beyond anything humanity had ever developed. I don't know what to say. Say nothing, Zorth said. But understand this, my daughter's rebellion is far from over. She has challenged the traditions of our people, and there will be consequences. If you choose to remain involved, you may find yourself drawn into a conflict far greater than you anticipate. Ilona met his gaze, her resolve hardening. If it means helping Leal, I'll do whatever I can. Zorth nodded, a faint smile playing on his lips. Then may your courage serve you well, human. You will need it. As Ilona left the Elian ship with Leal by her side, she couldn't shake the feeling that her life had just been irrevocably altered. The gift she carried wasn't just a piece of technology, it was a symbol of trust, a bridge between two worlds, and a beacon of hope for a future where compassion might triumph over tradition. But she also knew that bridges could be burned, and hope could be dangerous. The road ahead would not be easy. The Artemis hummed with quiet activity as it cruised away from the alien battlecruiser. Dr. Ilona Rod sat in her private quarters, the biogenic field generator carefully placed on her desk. Its crystalline structure pulsed faintly, as though alive. She couldn't stop staring at it, knowing the transformative potential it held for medicine, not just for Earth, but for countless other species. But the weight of her promise to Leal and the warning from King Zorth lingered in her mind. This wasn't just a gift, it was a responsibility, one that could reshape the fragile balance of power between humanity and the alien empire. Over the following week, Ilona immersed herself in studying the device, with Leal's guidance. She unlocked its secrets, documenting the principles behind its function. The generator used a form of energy unknown to human science, a blend of biophotonic waves and molecular restructuring that accelerated healing while maintaining cellular integrity. It was revolutionary, a tool that could erase the line between injury and recovery. But with each discovery came ethical dilemmas. How could this technology be integrated into human systems without risking exploitation or misuse? Ilona shared her concerns with Leal one evening in the med bay, where the princess was now fully recovered. "You have a gift, Ilona," Leal said, her voice soft but resolute. "But my father was right, sharing it too freely could bring chaos. Your people aren't ready for something like this, not yet." Ilona nodded, understanding but frustrated. I can't ignore the potential. This could save millions of lives." "Then start small," Leal suggested. "Teach your people to use it responsibly. Build trust between our worlds before you share it widely." Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent comlink from the bridge. "Dr. Rods, report to the command deck. We've received a distress signal." The distress call came from a small, independent colony near the border of alien space. A viral outbreak had spread rapidly, overwhelming the colony's medical facilities. The colony's leader pleaded for assistance, knowing the Artemis carried advanced medical equipment. As the ship adjusted course, Ilona prepared for a challenge. Viral infections were notoriously difficult to manage, especially in remote colonies with limited resources. But now, she had an advantage: the biogenic field generator. When the Artemis arrived, the situation was dire. The colony's population was suffering from high fevers, respiratory distress, and rapid cellular degradation. Ilona and her team set up a field hospital, working tirelessly to stabilize the patients. The generator proved invaluable, repairing the cellular damage caused by the virus and accelerating recovery. News of the miraculous recovery spread quickly. The colonists, many of whom had prepared for the worst, were overwhelmed with gratitude. One elderly patient, her voice frail but determined, held Ilona's hand tightly. "You've given us a second chance," she said. "Bless you." But Ilona noticed something troubling. Among the colonists were refugees, aliens who had fled the strict rule of King Zorth. Their fear of their own government was palpable. "What happened to them?" Ilona asked one of the colonists. "They came here seeking freedom," the colonist replied. "The Empire doesn't take kindly to dissent." Leal, who had accompanied Ilona to the colony, overheard the exchange. Her expression darkened. "This is what I'm fighting against," she said. "My father's rule isn't just harsh, it's oppressive. These people shouldn't have to run to survive." Ilona realized that her work wasn't just about medicine anymore, it was about creating a bridge between worlds, challenging systems that valued power over people. When the Artemis returned to its mission, the crew received a message from the alien empire. King Zorth had learned of the colony's recovery and the use of the biogenic field generator. Instead of anger, the king expressed guarded approval. "You've proven your worth once again, Dr. Rods," Zorth said in a holographic message. "But understand this, the path you tread is fraught with danger. Compassion is a powerful force, but it can also ignite rebellion. I hope you are prepared for the consequences." Ilona shared the message with Leal, who smiled faintly. "He's right," Leal said. "But rebellion isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes it's the only way forward." In the weeks that followed, Ilona's actions became a beacon of hope for those on the fringes of alien and human society. She continued her work aboard the Artemis, using the biogenic field generator sparingly but effectively. At the same time, Leal began to take on a new role, not as a princess bound by tradition, but as a voice for change. Together, they forged an unlikely alliance. Leal used her knowledge of alien politics to build a network of allies, while Ilona focused on creating a framework for responsible medical innovation. Their bond deepened, not just as doctor and patient, but as partners in a shared mission. Ilona's reward wasn't just a biogenic field generator, it was the knowledge that she had made a difference, both in saving lives and in challenging the status quo. She had stepped into a conflict far greater than herself and emerged as a catalyst for change. The stars stretched endlessly before the Artemis, a reminder of the vast unknown. For Ilona and Leal, it was a symbol of possibility, a future where compassion and courage might truly transcend the boundaries of species and empire.